Hi, everyone. I'm here with the author of this great book, Target Africa, Obianuju. I have it?
Excellent.
Thanks. I know that's hard. I am so impressed with this book, and I was so impressed with the title, I thought, I'm not smart enough to read this book.
Oh, funny.
So tell me what made you decide to write it.
So this book came about because I had already been doing some work for a number of years now on pro-life issues, but not just the pro-life issues as people are used to seeing, but pro-life issues on an international scale. So my particular interest was on the relationship between Western countries and developing countries, especially African countries, on what happens in their relationship as far as humanitarian aid goes. That yes, many times they help African countries out in humanitarian crisis and all kinds of problems, but there is something very problematic in that relationship, because when you look closer, and that's what this book is all about, just beneath the surface of the humanitarian aid there is a lot of ideological maneuvering, there is a lot of ideological push from the Western donors. So they're pushing issues that are important to them. They are trying to get Africans to embrace contraception. They are trying to get Africans to get to kind of accept legalized abortion, comprehensive sexuality education, all sorts of things that the Africans find problematic and the Africans reject from the point of view of their culture and their cultural views and values. But it's coming to us from Western donors, so that's why I wrote the book. And of course, Ignatius Press, my publisher, they were wonderful enough to agree to work with me on this particular theme.
Yeah. Ignatius is just a great publisher. Father Fessio, the team, they're fabulous. But it's amazing that you tie that in with groups who are working to help the African nations, but as many donors are, that you like to know where your money is going. Yes. But this is sort of a different agenda, really kind of taking away some freedoms when you're looking to impose reproductive issues on people. So tell us how that's emerged.
So they come in as if they're doing good. Not every donor. So let me just put this out there. We are grateful for those who are interested in helping us with water and education and sanitation and food. But then these donors that I speak about extensively in the book are people who will come in their country, sometimes their countries, their organizations, they are even private foundations, and they come to the Africans, but then as they are giving us money, they are earmarking the money for what they're calling family planning. But these are very aggressive, if you like, very aggressive campaigns for contraceptives and condoms and and all kinds of programs, even sometimes abortion, across the different countries on the continent of Africa. So we see it, and they act out in so many ways. They're doing so many conferences in different African countries. So people come from America, for example, an American organization would come into Africa, and they set up this massive family planning conference in Ethiopia or in Nairobi, Kenya. So they're doing these things, and it's their own agenda, because when you go to Africa, when you go to different African countries, because I've traveled throughout the different countries in Africa, people are not asking for contraceptives. They are asking for food. They're asking for water. They are asking for education for their children. But the reality is that for a number of years now, the money being given to what is being termed population programs now exceeds education. It exceeds what is being given for water and sanitation. It exceeds what is being given for CSOs. So it's incredible when you look at the figures, and the book gives real specifics and references as to what happens.
That's and it's such an amazing thing when you think about the basics of life. In a way, water, housing, education, really fostering the dignity of life, are being suppressed to eradicate life.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super problematic. Yes. Now, you talked about all these countries, and I know you've recently addressed the UN. You've been traveling a lot. How is your message received? Because I am a big Twitter fan of yours. I just love how bold you are for life, and I love how fact-based you are rather than innuendo. So that's a great thing.
Thank you, and hopefully, I also hope that I'm not coming from an emotional point of view as well, that it's really facts and not my feelings and not my emotions. And people can find me on Twitter at Obianuju if anyone wants to see what happens on Twitter. But then recently I've had, yes, a lot of opportunities to speak out at different places, including the United Nations, and the message has been so well received.
Good.
More often than not. So people come up and say, well, thank you for speaking up the minds of the people, especially the African people who had met at the United Nations. Most of them walked up to me and they were so grateful, saying to us, it wasn't just me, we were 4 African women speaking on this panel at the UN, just saying to us, thank you for speaking the minds of our mothers and our grandmothers from Africa. So at least we are able to articulate to the world where our people stand, that Africa is not a vacuum. We are not undecided about these issues. We know what we believe, and it's just good that young African people are able to come out and express those views.
Well, thank you so much for being a voice for life and for your amazing work. So people can get the book from IgnatiusPress.com. Check out your organization at cultureoflifeafrica.com.
That's right.
And so I hate to cut our conversation short, but it's time to get back to the rest of the show. But I could go on forever. Thank you for your work.
Thanks, Bonnie.
And now back to the rest of This Is the Day.